and good morning. Welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. Kaiser's here on the sofa one more time, and I'm John, coming to you today with what we need to discuss about what's going on in and around the news. It gets funnier every day if you think about it, because the memes are coming hot and heavy, and you cannot write jokes as much or as good as what you're getting right now from our people in charge of things, such as the teachers union head, who has gone completely out of control, both on MSNBC with none other than Reverend Al Sharpton, who, baits and puts out what he wants to achieve in helping along the lies of MSNBC. As usual, we all forget back in the day of Tawana Brawley what he fabricated then and got away with. But there he is, a star of NBC and the seeker of truth from a nutcase. And she has absolutely lost her mind with regard to student loan forgiveness and so on, because she is afraid of losing her position and cushy gravy train that she has enjoyed all through the Biden administration. And she was part and parcel to the stupidity of forgiveness of student loans for certain individuals, not everyone. And now she's trying to say, because the Department of Education is going to be given back to the states right now, who can do the job a lot better than any government agency is going to allow that job to be done. And it's clear, present, and right there for you to see through the transparency of this administration what is going on with the Department of Education. It's not good, and the states can do a lot better job. Maybe some of the blue states will have to be dividing the areas of responsibility, because we know that the blue-run states are not capable or any more capable of what we're getting out of the blue side of the government on the legislative branch. And the controlling branches of the Department of Education should have been wiped out years ago and put back in the states. We know that. Our educational prowess is no longer, we're number 40 out of, it's unbelievably bad that we have students graduating high school that can't read on a 6th grade level, never mind do any math or chemistry. And she wants to stay in charge and keep everything as the status quo. Take a look here. There's two to look at.
Joining me now is Randi Weingarten, president of the American Federation of Teachers. Thank you for joining me today. Randi, Gwen Walz, let me go here first. Gwen Walz, the wife of Democratic vice presidential candidate Governor Tim Walz, responded yesterday to what Senator Vance had to say about you. Let's play the clip.
Now, I read that J.D. Vance said he was really disturbed by teachers who don't have biological children. We do not take kindly to folks like J.D. Vance telling us when or how to start our families. Mr. Vance, how about you mind your own business?
That's one teacher's take, Ms. Walz. What's your response to what Senator Vance had to say about you, Randi?
So, Rev, you and I know each other a long time, and I'm used to, just like you're used to, people going at us and insulting us because they want to try to disconnect us from the people we serve or the people we represent or what we're trying to do. And so that's what Vance is doing. He's trying to disconnect parents from teachers. And just like Trump, throws out name calling and, bullying tactics, that's what Vance is doing. So I don't really care about myself. I mean, other than the fact that he's actually wrong. And I, have a great family with kids and grandkids and lots of nieces and nephews and great nieces and nephews. But this is what's so venal about it. This is the start of the school year. And when he doubled down on this, he knows it's the start of the school year. He has kids himself. And this is that moment when you need to really reconnect parents and teachers to create the safe, welcoming environment that kids really need to succeed. Mm-hmm. So he is actually doing something really undermining of kids by doing this to teachers all across America. And the second thing I would say is that there are so many people in so many modern families. Why would you dismiss all of them? I thought the Republican Party said that they wanted to have all these parents be part of them. They don't. They just want to smear people. Mm. And the third thing I would say is that there's such pain for people who haven't been able to have kids, haven't been able to have families. You see all those and hear all those IVF stories right now. So think about the cruelty. Think about the undermining of the parent-teacher relationship. It just feels like he's completely out of touch with real people and with what real people need, Democrat, Republican, Independent, in terms of who they want to see as a president or a vice president.
And so that is why President Biden said, we are going to deal with that. As we deal with the end of the pandemic, we're going to deal with that. We're not going to start student debt again without actually making a down payment of it. And the Secretary of Education had the right to do it. And frankly, and this is what really pisses me off, during the pandemic, we understood that small businesses were hurting. And we helped them. And it didn't go to the Supreme Court to challenge it. Big businesses were hurting, and we helped them, and it didn't go to the Supreme Court to challenge it. All of a sudden, when it's about our students, they challenge it, the corporations challenge it, the student loan lenders challenge it. That is not right. That is not fair, and that is what we are fighting as well when we say, cancel student debt. This is about the people. And it is about the people's future. And it is about all of your futures.
She is an incredibly nutcase of a person. There's no other way to describe it. I'm sorry. Sorry if you had to sit through that one more time, but you need to see that. And then we're going to move on to the continuing saga at CNN and MSNBC over the Signal chat that went on, which has been shown to be no story at all, but they're going to continue it as a story for as long as possible because they want you to believe that it was a big mistake, which is not a big mistake. And for you to be out there calling for people to be fired over this, let me remind you one more time, Biden never fired anybody for all the mistakes that were made under his watch, starting with Mayorkas, starting with the people involved in the Afghanistan withdrawal, where people lost their lives. And we've lost millions of dollars worth of equipment just given to the Taliban by that administration. No one was fired. No one was talked about being fired because they really didn't care. And it's there and it is in your face. This Caitlin Collins from CNN, who was shot down and slapped down, we showed you this yesterday, by the press secretary, has gone on now and gotten the person in charge of Veterans Affairs on the show and tried to bring up this Signal chat thing again. and get him to trip himself up when he was there to talk about what's going on with veterans, and asked specifically, why is it that people at CNN have to be sued over what they have to say about veterans, especially one somewhere in Florida that he brought up, and they won't answer it. And this razor-lipped Caitlin Collins is a nasty individual in every shape and form that you can think of. And she had nothing good to say, and we'll show you one more time about how the press secretary handled it, but just take a listen here.
Do you believe that a mistake was made here, though, to have this conversation, to add a reporter, and to have it on an unsupported, classified group setting?
Caitlin, as I've just told you, I've just answered the question. I wasn't part of it. And, I'm not going to speculate more than what the president's already talked about and those who've been involved have talked about. But we'd love to talk about the veterans.
Oh, he's good. He's good.
Yeah, and I do have questions about the veterans, but given what we saw with the group chat and how this was used, you are a member of the cabinet. You obviously know these other members, several of them who were in there. Is this typical for the cabinet to have conversations over Signal? Is this something that you use?
Well, Caitlin, Senator, you undoubtedly do not want to talk about the VA. I have a question as VA Secretary. As Cabinet, I want to ask you, because I've been curious about this, because my job is to take care of veterans, and I would like to know why CNN is hostile to veterans, especially one in Florida, where you just had a $5 million defamation suit taking offense at a veteran who was trying to help people. In fact, one of your employees actually said, we're going to nail him. I have a question for you, Caitlin. Is that employee still employed? Are you really concerned about veterans? So if we don't want to talk about veterans now, you want to talk about everything else, I'd like to hear from CNN as the Veteran Cabinet Secretary why CNN seems to have a problem with veterans.
Well, Mr. Secretary, respectfully, my question was about whether or not you as a member of the cabinet use this. And
It's over, ladies and gentlemen.
Hard to believe, isn't it, that she continues this, and they're going to be put out of the White House press pool if she continues to act this way, and I hope it happens sooner rather than later. I don't like this woman, never have, and I believe that she is must hate America, is all I got to say about it. But it's coming to where the CNN network is going to come into a collapse because of their inability to handle themselves in a correct fashion when talking to individuals that are in charge of certain areas of the government. They always want to get their message across, and it's a distracting message that will take you over here so you can't see over here of what actually is happening. And this is, it continues. They are low in people that are tuning in. They don't realize what damages they've done to themselves through this last election and the 4 years of covering up for Joe Biden. And they literally were part and parcel to the entire cover-up of the cognitive ability of a sitting president, and told you all kinds of stories and lies about what was going on there. It's unbelievable in some cases that they got away with it. And no one else sued them, because they are being sued now for libel in several areas, and I hope that she gets hit and gets hit soon, that Collins woman. And it's the collapse of CNN. Take a look.
you
so
feel?
as a patriot, Scott, I find it really troubling because they ran on this whole idea of this pseudo-patriotism, this regressive masculine patriotism, yet everything they're doing runs against making America great.
Well,
it was never great, so I'm not going to say the again part, but making America great. You're trying to defend the indefensible. Yeah, I absolutely feel that way. I absolutely feel that way. And I think if you had the history that my people had in this country, that you might have a modicum of understanding and respect for that. America was never great for me. But I understand that
talk later about why the Democratic Party is so unpopular.
I'm not here to represent the Democrats. I'm here representing me, and I think it is a common understanding that America may have been great for you. It was not great for me. I think there are people who want her to fulfill that promise. But
oh, what the ever? Here we go!
You know, being black in America it's tough.
America was never great for me.
You're trying to tempt me now.
Okay, we have enough of that, but let's go over to ABC and The View. More BS from The View about who should be fired, and then they got into a discussion about weaponry. And they actually made the statement that if you used a AR-15 to kill a deer, that the deer would not be, you couldn't eat the deer because of the damage done by this gun. This is a gun that takes a .223 round, which is slightly bigger than a .22 round. It is a good gun for hunting. I don't know why they're on about AR-15s. They're not fully automatic. And guess who has all the fully automatic weapons in this country? Just a scant one night ago, they showed on the news people being illegals, gang members being arrested, and they showed the arsenal that they had at their disposal. They had automatic weapons, fully automatic, that you and I cannot buy or own here without real specialty permits, and silencers on everything, which you and I would have to get a special permit to put on our guns. So they are totally devoid of any knowledge about hunting, about weaponry, or anything else. These ladies on The View are crazy, and they are spreading and propagating false information every day that they're on air, and no one, except a few scant lawsuits, have been brought against these women, and they should do it, and that show should be canceled completely off the air. No good comes from The View.
But the question is, you know, are Americans buying the way that they're framing this? I mean, I don't think so. And I'm kind of surprised about, or maybe I'm crazy, but still not one Republican has called for anyone in this group to be fired. Yeah. I mean, they love to fire people. What's going on?
They think we're stupid, is my opinion on this. They really think we're stupid.
You made me do this.
Before we went to commercial, Sarah didn't get a chance to weigh in on the topic of what happened in Maine and AR-15s.
Yeah, I would love to see an assault weapons ban. Like President Reagan, I don't believe they're a sport or hunting instrument. It's like shooting fish in a bucket, but that's my take.
But also, if you shoot with an AR-15, let's say you shoot a deer, you can't eat it. Because you basically demolish the animal. In addition to that,
but the hunter...
They really think we're stupid.
To tell you the truth, I can't say I blame them.
What do you say?
So anyway, we're there, and we're talking today about what's going on inside our government. We're also going to talk a little bit here about the nonsense that is being spread all over by these agencies and talking heads about how bad the administration is working and so on and so forth. And then everyone knows about the out-and-out fatwa that's being pushed on Elon Musk and the Tesla dealerships. Tomorrow is the 29th, where they're saying there's going to be an out-and-out campaign to destroy Tesla and calling for more violence, more firebombing, more keying of owners' cars. This is a destructive force that is being put together, and I don't know why we don't have the ability to go out and put a stop to this before it happens. But when it happens, I hope that there is enough law enforcement around to make these people pay for their idiocy and their wrong thinking that has been put on them through an organized setup. And I would love to know who is funding this organized setup to get Tesla and to malign Elon Musk against, or try to drive a wedge between he and Trump. At the same time, we saw Bret Baier last night on Fox with the DOGE team, or part of the DOGE team, that was very transparent in what their findings are, and also very transparent in the fact that they are going to clean up the fraud in Social Security, but no one will ever go without a check. Medicare and Medicaid are going to be okay. They're just going to remove the fraud out of it. And why anyone would fight against cleaning up the fraud and cleaning up our government of fraud and waste should be a concern to anyone. The ones hollering the loudest, the ones that are protesting way too much, are the ones that are receiving from the back end some of this washed out money that has been put all over the world, and with no accounting ability to see exactly who got what out of those funds that were maybe approved for a program and then bifurcated into several other programs, and God knows how much has been banked away in the Cayman Islands under false names and so on. We have a corrupt, particularly corrupt segments of our government that have to be taken care of, fixed once and for all. And this is a real problem. But the transparency of DOGE is there. Everyone can see. There's a absolute, on the DOGE site, you can go in and look at where the money is being misappropriated or being given to people that have been dead for years, and so on and so on. I urge you all, if you have not watched the Bret Baier series from last night, you'll find it here on YouTube, you'll find it on Rumble, and you'll find it on Truth Social, and you should watch this. Part 2 is tonight on Fox News with Bret Baier. Tune in, take a look at it, and look at the transparency that you're getting from not only DOGE, but this entire administration is wide open for a look-see. And this Signal thing, this Signal chat thing that they're going to continue to inundate with us through these lamestream media channels such as MSNBC and CNN, and then, of course, the legacy media of NBC, ABC, and CBS will not be any better. And if you're relying on The View for factual information, you'll never get it. because they don't care to tell you the truth. They have their agendas, and they push their agendas down people's throat every day. And I urge you all to boycott these stations, make their viewership even worse, because you're not getting factual information from that. There are channels here. You have Redacted. You have this channel. And you have many other channels on just YouTube alone that you can get factual information and some real funny anecdotes about the left side losing their minds over having a government that is actually working for the people, by the people, and the people will benefit. And this drives them crazy, especially people that cannot understand why they lost the election and continue to double down on incorrect thinking, bad behavior, and overall lunacy that is the new Democratic Party. It's Friday. We're looking at a beautiful weekend coming up, a nice warm weekend. I hope where you are that you're enjoying some good weather. If you can, get out, get some fresh air. The pollen is starting to come down here, especially the pine pollen. You can see it on your cars in the morning. So if you have allergies, remember, take your medication before you go out, but take a walk in the woods and listen to the gods talk to you through the breezes in the tree, and have a calming moment. Let this stuff go, because we have someone in charge right now, which is upstairs looking over the shoulder of this administration, and we're going to correct what's wrong in this country, whether they like it or not, and whether it's ideology, whether it's making the country healthier again. These things will happen if allowed to happen, and pay no attention to the idiots behind the curtain that have no plan. This administration has a grand plan, and it's to make America great again, make America healthy again, and make America wealthy again. It's happening, and we have to allow it to happen without all the noise from the left-hand side that can't give you a platform, can't give you a plan, can't do anything but tell you what's wrong with someone else. And usually when they point a finger at something that someone else is doing, it's a direct indication that they're doing it themselves. And they have been doing it for the last 10 years since Obama brought his hope and change to this country that did nothing but destroy, or try to destroy, a great country and make it a socialized haven for every dope with an ideology that they need to make you believe is mainstream and okay. We're not accepting that. We answered that in November, and we will continue to answer that when questioned by anyone at any time. So here it is, Friday. We're off for the weekend. We'll be back to you Monday morning with more. The news makes the fun to do these broadcasts and these podcasts to you fun, because they bring out what's really funny about their thinking. And we love showing you these memes just to maybe you didn't realize how off base these people really are. So from Kaiser and I, we're going to wish you the happiest weekend ever, and hope, if you haven't subscribed to our channel here, please do. We need the subscriptions, we need the views, so please share with everyone the Kaiser Report if you choose to. And if you like us, please let us know. We have a comment section below. We would love to hear from you. We do get a lot of great comments. We haven't gotten too many negative ones, but the negative ones are usually by uninformed individuals that don't understand the exact happenings that are going on. They just take news from we don't know where, but we have a good idea it's probably CNN or Morning Jerk on MSNBC. So with that, we're going to say stay safe, stay strong, and stay with the Kaiser Report for commentary and some funny things here and there. So we wish you a great, happy weekend. Bye-bye now.